Travis Scott's Astroworld festival this year was a complete and total disaster. Not only did 10 people lose their lives attending the concert, but the wave of backlash has turned the tide against Travis Scott. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers, and today on I.O. we're going to be counting down the top 10 people who hate Travis Scott. But first, if you happen to be new here and you don't want to miss another video, make sure you tap that subscribe button. And with that out of the way, let's begin. Coming in number 10, Kris Jenner. Travis Scott and Kris Jenner already were not in a good place. Now, this most recent incident is definitely going to test their relationship yet again. I don't think Kris is going to be acting very friendly towards Travis after so many people threw shade at Kylie for attending and filming that ambulance that drove through his crowd. Back when there were allegations that Travis was cheating, a source close to the family told the press, "Kris is furious with Travis over his careless attitude with Kylie. Kris never sees Travis around, and when she does see him, Travis does not seem very present or engaged with the family. And now with his ties to Kylie affecting her business, it's pretty safe to say that they won't be on good terms." Coming in number 9, Kylie Jenner. I'm sure from a personal standpoint these two will publicly support each other, but with Kylie leaving Travis in Houston and jetting back home with her mother, things may be taking a turn for the worst. I mentioned in a previous video we did about Kylie Cosmetics taking a huge hit to their sales, and although it may sound cold, money issues tend to be the straw that breaks the camel's back in any relationship. And after she was linked to this tragedy at Astroworld, Kylie is definitely going to be hesitant about when she starts promoting her products again. Her last post as of writing this was November 4th, and according to reports she makes about $1 million per post in direct sales. So on whatever day that you're watching this, you do the math of how much money that she's lost out on. I believe she can sustain in sales, but this is certainly going to put some pressure on her relationship with Travis. Coming in at number 8, Houston Police. This event, in my opinion, was not a good look for the Houston Police. Kudos to them for all that they did, because there certainly could have been more tragedies if they did not intervene, but this is definitely not a good look on them. You have to think that there are some officers that even resent Travis Scott for continuing his performance despite many people needing medical attention. TMZ also broke a story where you can see Houston police officers at the front of the stage just calmly taking videos and photos of Travis Scott and Drake on stage as they hyped up the crowd. This was between 9:57 p.m. and 10:02 p.m. Now, the problem with that time frame is that the Houston fire chief declared that this was a mass casualty event at 9:38 p.m. So while all of this chaos was going on in the middle of the crowd, you have Houston PD just standing around, which again is not a good look on their department, and Travis might carry some blame there. Or at least, like I said, resentment towards him. Coming in at number 7, Energy Park. Energy Park in Houston, Texas is this massive venue space complete with a stadium and one of the world's largest parking lots, which can actually hold up to 26,000 vehicles. They also see nearly 750 events yearly. However, after hosting Astroworld, a number of bad things could happen to the park. For starters, their insurance policy is nowhere near what they would need to help pay the family of the victims and the countless others who were injured in their park. A little bit of the responsibility for this disaster has to also fall on the venue for not making sure that every safety measure was put in place. Again, it always goes back to money though. If the park starts taking a huge hit in sales because people don't want to associate with them after this, or because they are drowning in lawsuits, you have to imagine that there would be a lot of resentment towards Travis Scott. Coming in number 6, Houston Medics. My heart really goes out to the poor EMTs that had to work on trying to revive people in all of this chaos and by themselves in most situations. A TikTok user who claimed to be a medic at the event said that he was on his way to assist another medic when he had to stop and save a different concert goer who had also fallen unconscious. They said that this kept happening again and again to medics who were just trying to work in teams. Due to there being so many people requiring assistance, they often had to separate, which is not a good thing to do in this scenario. I also can't imagine being that ambulance driver just trying to get through the crowd to get some medical attention, and then suddenly you hear people climbing on top and dancing on the roof of the ambulance. I couldn't imagine how it must have felt to be a medic in that crowd trying to revive someone as Travis Scott screams for them to make the ground shake. A lot of resentment coming towards Travis Scott, that's for sure. In at number 5, Live Nation. Among the people that are also facing a lawsuit, we have the event organizer Live Nation. Now, to have this tragedy happen involving your brand this soon after a global pandemic is not good. You know their company must have taken a huge hit in profits after not being able to operate for a year because of COVID restrictions. And now they're being smacked with lawsuits for hosting the Astroworld Festival. Within the lawsuits, they claim that Live Nation acted negligently by failing to create and enforce proper safety protocols, failing to provide adequate security, and failing to maintain proper crowd control. quote. According to a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of Wasim Abdullawi, he was left seriously and permanently injured from the concert. The suit goes on to say, conditions were created and consented to by the festival organizers that caused several stampedes and a crowd compression that resulted in the tragic deaths of 8 individuals and the serious injuries of hundreds more. However, now that this number has risen to 10 people, things are only going to be getting worse for Live Nation. Coming in at number 4, Drake. Meredith Duncan, a law professor at the University of Houston Law Center faculty, spoke to the press about why Drake is now also at the center of several lawsuits. She says, quote, the allegation about Drake is that he also should have been aware that people were being injured and hurt, and by him taking the stage and performing that he was going to add to that situation. One of the lawsuits alleges that Drake actually helped incite the crowd and that he continued to be on stage with Travis as the crowd became out of control. Not only that, but he's also facing backlash for what he did after the festival. In a similar situation to Kylie Jenner, Drake may be wanting to, distance himself from Travis Scott, because shortly after all of the news began to come out regarding the horrifying details of the event, Drake broke his silence on the matter and said, I've spent the past few days trying to wrap my mind around this devastating tragedy. I hate resorting to this platform to express an emotion as delicate as grief, but this is where I find myself. My heart is broken for the families and friends of those who lost their lives and for anyone who is suffering. I will continue to pray for all of them and will be of service in any way I can. May God be with you all. In at number 3, McDonald's. Even the mega fast food chain McDonald's is severing ties with Travis Scott following the controversy with Astroworld. Back in September of 2020, McDonald's announced their collaboration and launched the Travis Scott meal. However, both he and the location in Downey, California were fined after holding a promo event that brought in a crowd of 500 crazy fans. There were so many people jammed into the McDonald's just pushing and shoving each other that Scott's security team had to actually push him through the crowd. In a tweet condemning the event, the Downey police said, today's Travis Scott appearance at McDonald's was neither approved nor permitted by the city of Downey. DPD units were dispatched in response to a large crowd gathered and focused on traffic and pedestrian safety concerns until the crowd dispersed. No injuries were reported. So from the jump, they experienced controversy while collabing with Travis Scott, and now they definitely don't want to partner up again. In at number 2, Epic Games. Epic Games has worked with Travis Scott a lot in the past. In Fortnite, they even hosted a virtual concert, which from now on is probably the safest way to attend a Travis Scott show, although I doubt it will ever be happening with Epic Games ever again. Anyone who associates with Travis after this incident will certainly face a bit of controversy, and so to get ahead of that, Epic Games removed all of Travis Scott's unique emotes from their Fortnite item shop. There is also a Travis Scott skin that thousands of players probably have in their inventory, and although it's unknown if they will remove that as well, one thing is for sure, these two will not be collaborating together ever again. Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, victims' families. The real people who have the right to not like Travis Scott are the families of those who lost their lives at this concert. Those are the people who have every right to be furious when he put the show above the safety of his fans. The crowd surged in chaos, and the crowd ended up taking the lives of 21-year-old Axel Acosta Elvia, 27-year-old Danish Bag, 9-year-old Ezra Blount, 23-year-old Madison Dubisky, 14-year-old John Hilgert, 20-year-old Jacob Jurinick, 21-year-old Franco Patino, 23-year-old Rodolfo Pena, 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez, and 22-year-old Bahardi Shahani. The family members and loved ones for all of these victims have every right to hate Travis Scott right now, and I truly hope that he follows through on his promise to pay for their funeral expenses. Either way, guys, that has been the top 10 people who hate Travis Scott. As always, don't forget to drop us a comment down below with your thoughts. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube, or at least try.